Wait, J-Lo is here. Now she's not. Kyla. Oops. All right, good morning, everybody. Gonna go ahead and start the screen share right away so that we can get moving quicker here. And need to move this page over. So everybody that's in the room and then all the that are joining online here. All right, take a look up here, please. If you could, let's put the phones away. I say I got a quick period, try to do a lesson, then help out on the intro so that you do not, actually you can get that turned in by 10:30. We can get it taken care of, all right? So if you go to the modules today, go down to week 14 and click on Total War, all right? I'm gonna click on that. Yes, there is the link for the Nearpod today, which I already have launched, all right? And then the schedule is a little bit messed up, but you can see the schedule for today. If you're at home and you want to copy the schedule, these are all your periods in case you're wondering, okay? Everyone got that? So it's a little bit of that weird day again. All right. We got 13 on Zoom, so more than usual. I got sunburned yesterday. Hey, good morning, Raya. Up on, all right, so for your class, let's go ahead and get this Nearpod going so that, like I said, we can save some time towards the back end. This is the link. It's on Canvas, and then I will also put it in the chat box. For everybody. All right. Don't answer the same question that's been on there every day. I have a different question to start. I've been working off the same Nearpod for the third day in a row. Okay. If you could take about 30 seconds or so, make sure you get in here and finish up the song or whatever text you are sending or whatever you're doing on your phone, finish up, and let's put those away for about 20 minutes. I think I can get this done in 20 minutes. Spend 10 minutes on the intro, questions, and then you get out of here, okay? Luke, you got that? Timmy, whatever song you listen to, I'm sure it's good, but let's put it up for a minute. All right. I got 19 on here. I got 13 on Zoom and 5, 7, 8, 10, 4, 13 in the room. So if I'm not good at math, that equals 26. So there's 20, there's at least a few of you that are not in. Let's go ahead and get in. All right, first question that we wanted to answer today. Oh, no, I didn't. Skip a few videos I put on here. Let's go. We're gonna start off with this open-ended question, right? There we go. Right here. So, how do you, I should say, think the countries involved in World War I dealt with so many deaths in trench warfare? What did they do? That's what we're kind of looking at today. Okay, so the countries involved in World War I, how did they deal with so much death? What do you think? Okay. Deal with it as in, like, how did they figure out what to do about all the dead people, the wounded people, etc. Come on in, we're getting going here. You can toss it. It's good. I'm with you. Those are official. All right. We got 52% participation. Moved them to a certain location, left the bodies where they landed. They all put the dead bodies somewhere. They just left them in the trenches. I probably should rephrase this question. I don't think they did deal with them. They just kept fighting. Pretty solid answers. Buried them in the side of the trenches, left their limbs cut off for the wounded. I don't know. That's fine. Burn them? Well, that's aggressive. I bet they did some point. Canaan, I don't think they dealt with it because times were backwards. The thing is you got to deal with what I'm trying to say is how you deal with all the families. Think about if your parent went off to war, died. What do? This is at a time period where women had very little equality to men. Okay. Like women, you couldn't just be like, all right, mom's going to go work for, make enough money for us to go to school and put us in clothes and feed us, and provide heat for our apartment. That didn't happen. So like, what is the government really going to do? There wasn't a lot of options. All right. Also, who's going to replace all these dead guys? As in, who is going to replace them on the battlefield? Does that make sense? Say that again, please. Fighters from the colonies would be an answer. They expanded the draft, some countries down to 16 years old. They started bringing the age up to like 55 in some situations. Okay. This is what I call total war. All right. And that's kind of what we're looking at today, the theme. All right. And so before I get too far ahead of myself, let me also share with you. This is not the document I want to share with you. I have a document I wanted to share. I made a note sheet for you today. And if you fill out this note sheet along with the other one from Trench Warfare, then you can turn them in if you feel like it for extra credit. Here it is right here. All right, let me go ahead and share this. Taking longer than I hoped. Now it looks all weird. This is the World War I note sheet. Okay, it is directly on your module. If you want to fill this out today, new weapons, total war, home front, and propaganda, you can turn that in with the notes from the other day. Like I said, I'll give you 5 extra credit points. You have to send it to me as a Canvas message, though. All right, everyone good with that? If you care to do it, it's up to you. I'm not like making you do it. I'm just trying to get you ready, like I said, for the future as well. So there it is. All right, so let's talk about World War I as a high-tech war. Okay, so new technology that was originally supposed to make everyone's lives better reversed again and made people's lives worse. So over 10 million soldiers killed, over 20 million wounded, and over 6 million civilians, 8 million civilians killed as well because of the technology being better than the strategies they had to fight. This doesn't include the Spanish flu that knocked out another 20, 30 million people. Okay. So what are we looking at on the bottom left? What is that? A what? This is a large artillery gun that could fire shells, like I said, by the end of the war, up to 60 to 100 miles. What's on the bottom right? The battleship. Okay. Let's take a look at it. Here are a few more things that became valuable and more useful as the war went on. Top left-hand corner. This is when planes started to be used, and at first they were horrible, and then they actually became functional. On the upper right is called a Unterseeboot. An Unterseeboot, also known as a U-boat. What is a U-boat? What's a U-boat, Jordan? A submarine. Okay, so the Germans were the first to create submarines, and the British had a huge navy, and so it became a war over water as well. And the British tried to blockade the Germans from getting resources to America, and the Germans responded in kind by blockading the entire island of England by placing U-boats everywhere. Okay, this will be why the United States gets in the war. I'll explain that on Tuesday of next week. So here's a British tank on the left. These were not effective at first either because they would break down all the time. And on the right, you can see the gas masks and then a machine gun. Look at those gas masks. Usually I have kids try one on in class and walk around in them. They weigh like 15 pounds. They are very uncomfortable. And if a gas mask attack happened, you had to have one, or like I said, or else your lungs would burn from the inside out. You would breathe that air in, and then it would burn your lungs. A lot of times, again, you didn't necessarily die, but you would be severely wounded. Also, gas attacks were so poorly planned that a lot of times the gas they thought would blow onto the trenches of the opponents, they would actually blow onto their own trench. All right, anybody know what this is called?
A blimp.
Well, you might call it a blimp. That's what it would be called today, but it's called the Zeppelin. Okay, the Germans made this thinking that they could put it over the opposing side's trench, and what it turns out to be is a massive like helium tank that just exploded and was extremely not useful. All right, got a little video here. This is kind of funny, but it's also pretty cool. So they were so creative in the weapons that they tried to create to win. So this little video is about it's called like weird World War I weapons. I think it's kind of entertaining. Okay, I want you to at the end pick out which one you think was most interesting. Tell me why. Okay, I think it's a couple minutes long. It's not bad.
First World War technology, weird weapons and equipment. The First World War saw modern weaponry used on an immense scale. Out of this came unique technological advancements in weapons and equipment, but also primitive designs reminiscent of earlier eras of warfare. Let's have a look at some weapons. The gauntlet dagger. Born out of the brutality of trench warfare, the gauntlet dagger, sometimes known as the punching dagger, was worn like a glove for close-quarter combat. A crudely made blade and protective gauntlet made from light sheet steel with a crossbar inside for grip formed this weapon. While it meant the soldier couldn't hold anything else in his hand, it could deliver a lethal impact and inspire fear in the enemy. The trench raiding club. Another medieval-style weapon was the trench raiding club. Used by the Allied powers and the Central Powers, this melee weapon was a quiet way of taking out the enemy during nighttime raids. Trench clubs could be made in very crude ways, such as attaching a metal head to or banging boot nails into an entrenching tool handle. There are also examples of walking sticks that have trench clubs on the end. This example, which is made from a naturally gnarled piece of wood weighted with lead and fitted with iron spikes, was probably used as an officer's walking stick. The flechette, or aerial dart. Flechettes were a feathered aerial dart dropped out of an aircraft onto enemy troops. Used in the early parts of the war, they were capable of piercing a helmet and were silent as they dropped before inflicting damage. The periscope rifle. The periscope rifle allowed a soldier to take aim safely from the trenches without exposing himself to the enemy. The device, invented by Lance Corporal William Beach in May 1915 during the Gallipoli campaign, used an upper mirror fixed looking at the sights of the rifle, which reflected into the lower mirror, which the soldier peered into. The periscope rifle proved useful and was soon used in many frontline trenches. The grenade catapult and crossbow. The Leach trench catapult was used by the British Army to throw grenades at a high trajectory into the enemy trench. The French-made Arbalète Sauterelle Type A, or grenade crossbow, was lighter and portable and would replace the Leach catapult until they were replaced in 1916 by the 2-inch medium trench mortar and the Stokes mortar. Let's have a look at some equipment. Armor. Steel helmets were adopted by most combatant armies by 1916, offering much better protection from shrapnel than a cloth cap. Experimentation with chainmail visors, which attached to the helmet to protect eyes from shrapnel, were made, but these proved to be unpopular because they limited visibility. Along with head protection, consideration for the torso was also given. In 1915, the British first tried out body armor, but it was not universally issued, with enough body armor to equip only 2% of its army. There were three types of armor: rigid, hard armor, metal plate sandwiched between fabric and worn as a vest; intermediate armor, various forms of small square plates of metal attached to a canvas support to form a protective waistcoat; and soft armor, layers of silk, cotton or tissue, and linen scraps sandwiched in a fabric waistcoat. The stronger the armor, the more it could stop the effects of pistol rounds and shrapnel, but as a result, the more heavier and cumbersome it became. Armor was issued to specialist troops in the war by different combatants, such as the German stormtroopers and the Italian Arditi. Anti-gas fans. 100,000 of these fans were issued to British troops on the Western Front in 1916. Made from waterproof canvas stiffened with cane, the fan was a way of clearing the German gas out of the trenches. The fake tree. Fake trees were used by both sides as observation and sniping platforms. Under the cover of night, the observation post tree would be planted in no man's land by engineers, allowing the observer or sniper to spy on the enemy in plain sight. Only a few of these fake trees were discovered and captured. What weapon and piece of equipment did you find the strangest? Leave a comment below.
All right. Which one of these you think was most surprising? The medieval club, the stabbing spear with your hand, the tree, the face mask. Dude, that's like straight up out of medieval times, is it not? Like the chain armor, chainmail. Like, don't you think technology could have gotten a little better? That's crazy. The periscope rifle. You like that one, Jacob? I should hide the names. I will. Sorry about that. A tree.
It's not letting me answer the question.
Oh. Why not, Chris? Huh.
I have no idea. It just says eyes up front.
Yeah. Okay, we'll keep moving on. I won't count you off. I like the did anyone ever play lawn darts as a kid? Yeah, they're out. You can't. They're like illegal now. When I was a kid, those darts, you used to like chuck them and try to throw them into a hula hoop, and they had this big freaking like spike on it. So dangerous. My dad would always be like, "Be careful when you throw it. You're gonna poke someone's eye out." Like, they don't poke their eye. I'll go straight through their brain. Like lawn darts. All right, we're gonna keep going here, just because we got to for time purposes. Whoops. All right, so here's what I wanted you to understand. Okay, World War I was total war, meaning a country has to devote every single ounce of energy, money, time. Politicians stop politicking. They deal with the war. Okay, and that means kids, women, you name it, are affected. All right. So they have the draft. That's called conscription. That's a vocab word you want to remember. Okay. That means that the economy and like anything that was making, like, let's say, example, Ford. Ford stopped making cars during World War I. What did they make? Airplanes. And they did the same thing in World War II. Rationing of food. I don't know if you know what the word rationing means. Maybe you had to do this during the early months of COVID last year. Okay. I know we did, because we could only go to the grocery. We didn't want to go to the grocery store. So it was like, don't eat all your food. You only get so much each day. And then this is when minorities, people from the colonies, and even minorities in particular countries that were treated unfairly or unequally started to become a vital part of the war. And they actually then started to gain more rights. Okay. Latin America. So Mexico all the way down to South America. These countries got involved as well, providing a lot of the resources that these European countries no longer had access to. Okay. And then propaganda. Yeah, that's where the government tries to convince you to do things. I'm going to show you a couple examples here in a second. Okay. So the home front, if you take a look at these pictures, women, had to go to work in factories for the first time. They had to serve as nurses. They had to do the farm work that the men did. So you see women working on planes here, making bullets. Okay. Here's some women's propaganda. Oh, and then that strengthens what I call the women's suffrage movement. Suffrage means voting. So almost all of these countries allowed women to vote either during the war or after the vote after the war because of what they did during the war. And men started to realize that they should be allowed to vote if they can work to help keep the war going, right? Okay. And so all this leads to more equality around the world. Okay. World War I propaganda posters. Do you guys see that? Look at the middle one. Godspeed the plow and the woman who drives it. See how this woman is made to look like she's some kind of hero? On her, their lives depend. She's making ammo. And then this is VAD. The nursing members, cooks, maids, clerks, housemaids are urgently needed. Okay. At the home front, rationing. This is what it looked like. Okay. On the left is a daily bread card. In Germany, it says, Unser täglich Brot gibt's uns heute. So zulach alles, was du lebst. That means this is my daily bread card upon which I use so that everybody can live. So this would show you how many grams of bread you are allowed to eat a day. Get from the grocery store. Okay. Here you have Lady Liberty, be patriotic, sign your country's pledge to save the food. And then on the right, this is funny. Eat more cottage cheese. You'll need less meat. 1 pound equals supplies more protein than they show all the animals. Why do they want you to eat cottage cheese? Because the meat needs to go where? To the soldiers. Exactly. Okay. This is pretty famous on the right. Anybody ever seen something that looked like this? Okay. Uncle Sam saying, I want you for the U.S. Army. This was the first time the United States, when they joined World War I, used that propaganda poster. This is the German Kaiser, your country needs you. Okay. Look at the one on the right. You got a woman with a low-cut shirt saying, gee, I wish I were a man. I'd join the Navy. Saying like, hey, what's the message of that one? What's that? It's not quite. That's a good guess. It's actually a little bit, it's kind of promiscuous. She's trying to make males feel bad if they don't sign up because she doesn't have a chance to. And that's why she has that look on her face. Like, gee, I wish I were a man. I'd join the Navy. Like, so trying to make men feel like wimps if they don't do it. And then buying Liberty bonds, that's how the government paid for a lot of this. So beat back the Hun with Liberty bonds. So they're calling Germans the Huns, which is the most historically inaccurate reference. Not the most inaccurate, but it's pretty inaccurate. But that was the stereotype. Here's some weird, I told you guys, period 3 didn't believe me. Here's some weird World War I propaganda. I need smokes more than anything else. So what are they trying to get you to do? Smoke or chew less tobacco at home so that you can give to the soldiers because their morale. Kids, how can you help? Xavier, how could you help? 20 sheep to equip and clothe each shoulder. Boys and Joyce can help join a sheep club so that you can have sheep in your backyard. Does that sound appealing, Mariah? No? Zariah, for the propaganda box, you're just putting the different ways that they manipulated the people. I'm kind of going through it right now. All right, so I think I got all the aspects in that I wanted to there, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? Propaganda, home front, total war, and new weapons. All right, here's what I want to do. Your intro is due this morning, so I want to go ahead and get out of here, do a new share, and I wanted to go to which word assignment? This one right here. All right, so still not showing what I want. Share. There we go. All right. Anybody have any questions that they did not get on the intro? You want to just go through this real quick? You tell me. If everyone has it done already, I'll call off class right now. We'll just relax for a minute. I got other work to do. Everyone has it all? Well, which ones do we not have? Let's use our words. If you're on Zoom at home, unmute and just say which one you would like to look at.
Can we look at number 12?
Number 12, where did the leaders meet to finalize the end of the war? That's going to be something that's fairly familiar with you. The Palace of Versailles. Yeah, they met in the same place that leaders met to make Germany. This time around, they were basically going to destroy Germany. All right, let's look at 13. This is what we're talking about next week. What was Article 231 of the Treaty of Versailles, and why did the Germans not like it? Did anyone pick up on that one? Luke, you didn't get it? Anybody? Article 231 said that the Germans had to take the blame for starting and losing the war. And they didn't like it because they didn't think that they lost the war or were responsible for starting it. What are you doing on your phone when I'm trying to give away free answers? Playing World of Warcraft? Come on, man. Minesweeper? All right. What was self-determination? Anybody? Self-determination? It's pretty easy. What can you determine for yourself? Nobody wants to answer. Okay. Self-determination 14 was the idea that countries after the war could choose what kind of government they wanted to be, and colonies, and they would not have to be told by Great Britain or the US or France or Germany what they had to be or couldn't, what kind of government they had to be. You could just be whatever you wanted. All right, how many people died according to the book, and what effect did this have on the world? Anybody pick this one up? Nate. Excuse me? A lot more than that. Around 30? Did the book say that? I said it. It's upwards of 50 to 60 million people with the Spanish flu combined on this died. Okay. That number can vary. I probably didn't say exactly what the book said. A lot more than 800,000 in West. Again, 50 to 60 million people died due to the circumstances between how bad it was. All right, I think we went through most of these. Number 3, how is the Eastern Front different than the Western Front? Luke? On the Eastern Front were better? Yeah, the trenches on the Western Front were a lot more well developed. And on the Eastern Front, the Russians fought really poorly. So basically the Russians were just retreating the entire time. Maybe on one of the other ones that was hard for you to find, number 6. How did the Ottoman Empire become players in World War I? Anyone catch that? Okay, they fought the British over control of the Middle East. The Middle East is like Constantinople or Istanbul. Israel is kind of important. Iraq at this point because of all the oil that they found there. Saudi Arabia. So the Ottoman Empire fought against Britain and France really for control of the Middle East. We didn't get to 7. We'll get to that next week. How did German submarines cause the U.S. to join World War I? What do you think? Nate? What's that? Blocking trade. Yeah, they blocked trade and they sunk U.S. ships, infuriating the United States and causing them to want to, well, to really basically join the war so that they can keep trading with Great Britain and France and making money. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and we already talked about 8. How do women get involved? We said they rationed food, they worked in munitions factories, they farmed, they served as nurses. All right, go ahead, make sure you upload this by 10:30. We might have one more question. What did you say for number 3 again? The trenches were more developed on the Western Front, and Russia fought so poorly on the Eastern Front that they were just continually kind of backing up into Russia until they surrendered. All right. Thanks everybody for being here today. I know it's a little bit of a short day. We got to get these desks cleaned off. Make sure you get these intros turned in by 10:30, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. If you're presenting tomorrow, I'll send you a message. Make sure you get your current event uploaded onto Canvas, please, so that I can get it on the screen. Okay. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Thanks. See ya.